What's happening, folks? Welcome back to the channel. This is the starting 11 prediction for tomorrow's game against Motherwell. We're back at Celtic Park tomorrow, only a few days after that 2-0 home defeat to Braga in the Europa League. I think Thursday was an opportunity for us to try and get 3 points on the board, to kickstart the European campaign. But I think the performance and the result really compounded the bad feeling, the sort of bad energy that's around the club just now. It was a poor performance by all accounts. There was a lot of things in there that, I mean, it really makes you disillusioned, both with what's happening at Celtic just now and football in general, because we did have that disallowed goal from Kelechi Iheanacho, which was an appalling decision, a decision that should not be possible with the presence of VAR, and just one of those outcomes that leaves you feeling totally disillusioned about where football is at and where football is heading. But on the pitch for Celtic, I think a performance of the same ilk to what we've seen recently. That's 3 games without a win now, and that's not a crisis, but it's not far from it when you're talking about Celtic. We had the draw in Belgrade, the 0-0 draw against Hibs, and then that 2-0 defeat on Thursday night. This is the first Sunday League game following a Thursday night Europa League tie, so it'll be interesting to see what the sort of energy is like tomorrow, what the attendance is like in the crowd as well. I'm a big advocate of, well, not a big advocate, I'm the opposite. I absolutely hate the Thursday Sunday setup. I don't think it makes the spectacle, and it makes the appeal of going to the game late on a Sunday afternoon. It's a completely different prospect to the Saturday 3 o'clock kickoffs. And I think that sometimes plays out in the energy in the crowd and the attendance at times as well. So we'll see what it's like tomorrow. But in terms of Celtic on the pitch, we've got to see something. We need to see a response. The fans are certainly going to demand a response off the back of the last couple of games, but particularly that defeat on Thursday. And I think what we need to see is a Celtic team shows that they can still play with authority, they can still play with control, and a comfortable win is all that will really do tomorrow. It's unthinkable that we don't get 3 points in this game tomorrow, given how the last couple of weeks has gone. But it's very difficult, as I said on Thursday after the game, to look at this Celtic team and see where the promise is coming from. We're not scoring a lot of goals, and yes, we did have that goal ruled out appallingly the other night. But aside from that, the Braga keeper made 1 or 2 good saves, but again, you just left with that feeling that we never really looked at full throttle. We never really looked like we were cutting Braga open and creating an abundance of chances. That's the same feeling that you've had numerous times already this season, and we've only just entered October. And if you think about some of the results and performances domestically so far, we talked last weekend after the Hibs game about the really disappointing performance and insipid performance at Ibrox, really, in the 0-0 draw. We had to leave it late in the first day of the season against St Mirren. We left it even later away against Kilmarnock. We haven't really seen a 90-minute performance from Celtic that can fill you with any hope that we can find our stride and go on a really strong run this season. That's still to be seen, and I think there's huge concerns in just about every area of the pitch. You saw it in Kasper Schmeichel's performance the other night. I think a few people have been questioning Kasper's where he's at in terms of his career, and is he on the downward part of his career now that he's coming towards the age of 40. The huge mistake that he made in the cup final. Some really strange, some really poor passes out from the back the other night before the error that led to the first Braga goal. The defence, we haven't conceded basically anything domestically so far, but again, the defence at a higher level does look suspect when it comes to playing in Europe. The midfield, I think, is all over the place. We've yet to see anything from just about anyone in midfield this season that can fill you with any hope. And arguably, the weakest part of the team is in that front three, which is just cobbled together, whether it be Iheanacho coming in after the deadline on a free transfer, Daisen Maeda playing on the right-hand side where he's barely ever played any football for Celtic. Looks like he's checked out, looks like his head's obviously not in the right place given how the summer unfolded for him. You've got Tinekte on the left-hand side who is providing some sort of bright spark, but he's a young guy just arrived at the club. And then when the manager goes to the bench, he's got James Forrest, who's, again, at the twilight years of his career, and the likes of Yang as well, who, even if you think about Yang for the most part in his Celtic career, would probably play from the left-hand side. He's hardly an out-and-out right winger So the front three is very weak, both in terms of depth and in quality. And like I say, that leaves you with question marks across the whole pitch. And it's been said a lot throughout the course of this summer, and it seems like every time after a bad result, the hope and the optimism that was there after that game in Munich, where we put in such a strong performance at such a high level, um, how quickly that's dissipated is stark. It's really worrying, and it's all, as I said the other night, it cascades down from the top, from the way the club is run, from everything that unfolded in the summer. What we've watched as a Celtic team effectively be dismantled because we've sold key players from it, and the failing recruitment operation has been unable to replace them. And this is what we're left with. The manager is coming under flack from a lot of people. I think he is partly responsible for the situation. I find it very difficult when you look at Brendan Rodgers' body of work as a Celtic manager to say that he's a bad manager and that we should just get rid of him. But I accept that there is this sort of malaise around the situation because he's in his third season, his contract is running down. It looks for all accounts that he's leaving the club at the end of this season. And if you try and think about other scenarios at other clubs that you've seen in the past where a manager is leaving and everybody knows that he's leaving, sometimes it can be very, very difficult to retrieve that situation, to galvanise the team behind him, for him to be fully committed, consciously and subconsciously. I think that's something levelled at him. Could it be that he's maybe checked out? Again, even subconsciously, I think that energy transfer is something Brendan Rodgers has talked about. He talked about it through the summer, from the first time he was here, and the problems that went on off the pitch in terms of recruitment, and trying not to let that energy transfer happen from him being down and disillusioned onto the players, because that feedback loop is what starts to affect the performances on the pitch. But I think it's difficult to look at things right now, and argue that that definitely is not what's happening. So it's really concerning. I think tomorrow, like I say, the team have got to show that they've got some sort of authority and belief in what they're doing, and they've got the quality to go and score goals tomorrow. Muller will come to Celtic Park, having started the season well, by all accounts, and I've watched them on a couple of occasions. They have been playing well. I think it's great to see what the new manager is doing. I think not enough of the other teams in the league try and play an attractive style of football. I know that there is this swell of opinion that it's ridiculous that everybody wants to play out from the back these days, and that the small clubs who don't have the players to do that shouldn't even be attempting to play in that manner. But I think what Motherwell's new manager has done is really commendable, because while they've not transferred it into a huge amount of wins, because maybe they don't have the quality in the final third to convert their chances and their superiority into goals, I think it's refreshing to see a team of Motherwell's level play like that, and I hope they do get the rewards for it this season, because I think too many teams in this league are happy to sit on their 18-yard line, and not try and open up and be brave and take risks in the game. I think that makes for a better spectacle. That's what I've gathered from the couple of times I've watched Motherwell this season, that it has been a more entertaining game than you'd otherwise expect. So they're going to try and play tomorrow. That could play into our hands. But again, we've got to show the authority and the control in the game, and we've got to convert chances. And we'll come to the team in just a second. But like I say, with the question marks that are in numerous positions around numerous players, you doubt our ability to do that so far this season. So let's turn our attention then to that starting 11. There is a big question mark in goals. I think there's huge decisions for Brendan Rodgers to make across the whole pitch tomorrow. This is a key area where I think, yes, for me, I would put Sinisalo in. I think Schmeichel's performances, they do merit him coming out of the side for a period of time. I think Sinisalo has made less errors. Okay, he's played less games for Celtic, but he's made less errors in the times that he has played. And I've just got my concerns about Casper recently. But ultimately, I think Brendan Rodgers will stick with him. This is his final year at the club. It could well be his final year as a player, and those sentimental reasons are certainly not reasons to play him. But I just don't think Brendan Rodgers is going to make that change in goals. Let us know in the comments if you think that is one that he should be brave enough to make. But I'm going with Casper in goals. We covered it. It was a really bad error the other night. I don't think he should have been beaten from that distance. And like I say, some of his passes out from the back at times left a bit to be desired as well. So that's a concern. And if he is to stay in the team, he's got to start looking a bit sharper and performing to a much higher level. At right back, Colby Donovan came off at half time to be replaced by Sriracha on Thursday. I'm going to put him back in. It would not surprise me if Brendan Rodgers started Ralston tomorrow. I don't think Ralston's done enough, certainly not in the game. I know he was out with injury. He got a start against Hibs last week. I don't think he really done enough to justify coming back into the team. And I think Colby Donovan, I think it's worthwhile keeping him in the team, giving him as many minutes as possible. Again, balanced against his condition, and you're not running him into the ground at a young age when he's just in the team. But I would like to see Donovan over Ralston while Johnston is still out. I think Carter Vickers and Scales probably the first two names in the team sheet, and again, debate that if you want. I think you could raise question marks around both of them. I said the other day, and this still stands, that we haven't conceded and given much away domestically. So that's certainly why they should play tomorrow. But again, I'm not convinced about them when we come into some of these bigger games either. But left back, Sriracha. Tierney started, Sriracha came on at half time. I think Tierney was eventually replaced late in the game by Dane Murray, So again, I said with Tierney and the sort of managing of his condition, it seems like he might play one and then miss one when the fixture schedule is so congested like it is just now. So I'm going for Sriracha at left back. Coming into midfield, how does Brendan fix this situation in midfield? It seems like he's tried just about everybody now. I think something that's gaining momentum is the suggestion that Callum McGregor should maybe come out, because we're a bit over-reliant on him at times. He certainly looks like a player that's out of form, like most of the players around about him. But I don't think, again, rightly or wrongly, I don't think there's any chance that McGregor won't play tomorrow. He doesn't play international football anymore. We've got the international break after the game tomorrow, so he'll captain the side and play in midfield. I've gone for McKeown and Engels, which is the pair that started in front of him against Hibs last weekend. I thought Bernardo getting his start the other night, bright in the first 10-15 minutes, but again, like probably McKeown and Engels last weekend, you can't really look at his performance and say, well, he's definitely done enough to keep his place in the team. There is an argument to be made that these guys that haven't played so much maybe need a run of 4 or 5 games. I don't think that's going to happen because we have got so many fixtures, and I think the manager likes the idea of rotating things and keeping things fresh. I think McKeown in these domestic games can come in and perform. I think we need a hell of a lot more out of Arnie Engels. I think loads of people are at the stage now where they just don't see it with him. He's at a key stage in his Celtic career where he arrived for big money. Forget the money that he arrived for last season, right? He's come to Celtic and he's got this opportunity to try and prove himself at this club and at this stage of his career, where he's in his early 20s. He's trying to progress. If he wants to go on and play at a higher level, he's got to stand up and take his chance and show that he's got the bravery and the personality to go and play week in and week out for Celtic before he can think about progressing his career to any higher level. So he's got a lot to do, Arnie Engels. I mean, again, toss a coin for who you want to start in midfield. It's really difficult to look at anybody right now and say he's performing really well. You can't not play him. I think it could be a combination of any of those midfield players, and you can let us know what you think in the comments section below. Now we come to the front three, where again, I've been over this the last few starting 11s. It's just so difficult to come to this area of the pitch and see where the quality is coming from. I think one of the big problems right now, allied to the predictability of our attack, is the lack of tempo, but the lack of pace. The lack of pace in the team, I think, is really alarming. I think we've let Nicholas Kuhn go, who was really quick. We've let Kyogo go, who was really sharp and quick over the first 5 yards, and in terms of his movement, he could get ahead of defenders. And I think we've lost a lot of sharpness from the team, a lot of pace from the team. Dyson is obviously quick, but his performances recently, I mean, you just don't know where he's at. He looks like a player that just doesn't really want to be there. And whether you blame him for that or not. Whether you think that because of how things unfolded it's understandable, or you think, listen, you're getting paid, you're still a Celtic player, you need to go out and perform regardless of anything that's happened off the pitch. Whatever you think, it's clear that he's not performing to any real level, and I find it difficult to see how Brendan Rodgers can just keep picking Daizen Maeda because he's not getting anything out of him. Unbelievably, I'm going Yang on the right-hand side because, again, James Forrest off the bench last weekend, poor, didn't really do anything on Thursday either. And Yang, maybe in pure pace terms, maybe he's the player who can play from the right-hand side that can give us a bit of speed. There's very little quality there. I know that Dyson is much quicker, but again, like I've said, I don't know where his head's at, so I'm going Yang. Tenekte on the left-hand side, who, again, is providing some form of spark, is creating chances, is at least showing the bravery to take the ball and get at defenders and make things happen. I think, again, he's probably one of the better performers on Thursday night. And through the middle, Iheanacho. Again, so unjust that he was denied that goal. He done well to get onto it, to read the kind of short pass in between the Braga defenders, get onto it, it hits him in the head or the face, and then he goes through and it's a nice finish in his left foot, and you think we're back in the game. Like I said, that decision is astonishing. I heard people saying that they think the referee gave it on the pitch, and that's why it wasn't overturned, because they couldn't find conclusive evidence to overturn it. Even if that is the case, even that argument is ludicrous, because if all of those angles are not conclusive evidence that didn't touch his arm, then what is? I find it difficult to see how the referee on the pitch could have given handball as well. From his position, he would have been behind Iheanacho. There's just nothing to suggest that it touched his arm. And again, with VAR, those are the kind of easy decisions you think just can't happen nowadays in football. But it seems like with time, as it passes with VAR, the decisions almost get stranger at times. And like I say, it leaves you disillusioned with the spectacle, disillusioned with the sport at times and where it's heading. And again, for Iheanacho, I think there's no doubt he'll score his goals. But I think one of the issues with him, we need somebody who can carry the weight of Celtic on their shoulders and be the man, be the guy up front who's going to score goals for us, who's going to elevate us to another level. And I think looking at Kelechi's career, he's never really been the guy. He was a great impact sub for Man City. He was in and out of the team at Leicester. It didn't really work out for him at Sevilla. He's been at Middlesbrough. He's never been the number one guy who starts week in and week out for a prolonged period. And I think that is just the question mark about him. And that's a mentality thing. That's a mindset thing. I think it takes a lot. It takes a mentally strong character. I'm not saying he's mentally weak, by the way, but I think it takes a different type of mental strength to be the number one striker, to be the man that scores the goals, that carries the weight of the team on his shoulders, that can deliver week in and week out. And whether he's capable of it or not, maybe the way his career has gone to this point means that he may just not be able to find it, because this Celtic team needs something to elevate us, and it's a goal scorer. It's a goal scorer who can deliver. And we went through a period there where we were saying we're creating next to no chances. We are creating chances now, but we're still not getting the goal output. And really, Kelechi's the only player we've got to rely on in that sense. Johnny Kenny, I don't think, is a viable prospect. Shin Yamada cannot get anywhere near the team. And if you think Dyson is the answer through the middle, then I don't know what to say to you, because he's doesn't look like the answer in any position right now. So apologies if that is all doom and gloom. I just find it difficult to be anything otherwise after watching these last few performances and thinking about where we could be headed this season. Hopefully we can go and get a win tomorrow, a really convincing win where we put together, if not a 90-minute performance, we're dominant for most of the game. We play at speed, we convert the chances we create, and hopefully we can close out this really disappointing period between September and October international break. We can close it out on a positive, and then we can start to think about how we go forward on the return, because after that international break we've got big games, both in Europe and domestically. But there's a lot of question marks around this Celtic team right now, so let us know what you think of that lineup below. Would you make any changes to that? Like the video, please don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you after the game tomorrow with the full-time reaction. Thank you.